Feminism is a great example of extreme politics. It's a very small number of women who are really dyed-in-the-wool feminists, and most of them have been seriously hurt by masculinity, by men at some point in their life, and they haven't figured out, they haven't gotten over it yet. And the biggest proportion of women have very little trouble with men at all. They can control them, they can do what they need to do to get the men to do what they want them to do most of the time. They realize that men are human beings too, and they're only going to be able to control them some of the time. Sometimes they're going to be controlled by the men. They know it's a give and take, and sometimes their relationships don't work out because they married a jerk or they dated a jerk, but they know that not all men are jerks, and they know that men are different, and they realize that they are different, and the whole thing is just fine with them. And if you look around in your life, you'll see that 90-something% of the women are just fine with being women and with being men and with the way things are. But then that 1% or whatever that are terribly hurt, they're the ones saying something because they're in pain, and so they're screaming, and it's the old squeaky wheel gets the grease. And they bring up some important points, some things that we should look at, but we shouldn't forget that 90-something% of the women are just doing fine. And while we look at these ideas and see which ones we can institute, see which ones we can help, while we learn from our collective, or this aspect of our collective pain, we need to remember that we're still moving forward with most of society, that this is just a small part that hurts that we need to look at. It's not like a war where there's a huge hurt and everything is just going full on to fix this problem. And that happens too. And when that happens, you know it, and we start bringing out the war machine, and that is going to continue. That's not fixing to go away either. We're nowhere close to having wars disappear or dissolving the war machine. But when it's something small like this, we just need to remember the perspective. Look at it calmly, see what they're saying, decide what we can do about it, but not think that feminism or racism or transsexuals or homosexuals, these very small parts of the population, because even black people, even every race likes their own race, likes their own culture, doesn't have the answer as to how to fix it. Most black people aren't militant black people. That's a very small number that have been seriously hurt. Most of them know that white people don't know how to fix it either, and that they're doing the best they can too. And once we put these things back into perspective, we can actually start working on solutions and really putting our calm intellect to the task, and that is when we get things done.